What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel, check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on this Gilbert Arenas situation, right? Now, Gilbert Arenas, as you all know, Gilbert Arenas was arrested in connection with like some type of gambling scheme going on at one of his mansions. Right, and so Gilbert was making, they showed film of Gilbert coming out of, out of the jail or wherever he was locked up at. And Gilbert he been making jokes about it, right? And so what I didn't know until like last night, I saw Stephen A. Smith posted a video where Gilbert Arenas was kind of joking and said that everybody connected to Stephen A. Smith is getting arrested. He said one of the Morris twins, got arrested. Gilbert got arrested, and then somebody else. I forgot. It was one more person that got arrested or had some type of legal issue. Shannon Sharp had legal issues. I think he was referring to Shannon Sharp. So he said he's saying, I'm not saying that you snitching, but that's just a big coincidence, right? And so Stephen A. Smith he didn't, I don't know if he really took exception to it. He may not have liked it because he know that Gilbert Arenas is kind of silly. But he did speak on it. He said that Gilbert Arenas is taking this situation for a joke. And everybody that I know and everybody who has been on these platforms has been saying the same thing, that like Gilbert Arenas like thinks that this is a joke. And he is dealing with two different, like you in between the federal government on one side, and then you're in between what people say are like is a alleged crime organization, right? And so Gilbert was joking about how he would, this don't have anything to do with him. He's going to snitch and all this stuff right here. Now, to Gilbert, this may be a joke, but the federal government don't have a sense of humor. So you don't really want to be joking and playing with the federal government. Then on top of that, these people, these is Israelis that he says that, that people say that he's who was really running this alleged illegal gambling operation. Like, you don't want to be playing with these kind of people either, because Gilbert, he, like, that's not your lane. So you don't want to even really be associated with these kind of people. Then you don't want to be joking about how all you got to do is snitch and stuff like that. Because if the federal government is going after these people and they think that you may be, in a position where as though you can hurt their organization, then you can be in danger. You could be in danger, Gilbert. And then you think all of this is a big joke. And like Stephen A. Smith said, man, it's not a joke. The joke will be on you. You playing with you playing with the wrong people, basically. I think and this throughout Gilbert's career, he wasn't taking things seriously. Somebody made they reminded me of like when Gilbert had that incident in DC, and it was that he got caught with the guns and stuff like that. And then Gilbert, they announced Gilbert. I don't know if they announced him at like a pregame or some type of I don't know if it was an all-star game or something like that. And Gilbert was, he was holding up like the gun signs and stuff like that. And that really right there just pissed the NBA off when they seen Gilbert. They was like, this guy hasn't learned this lesson. They suspended him. Then when he come back from suspension and they announce him in the pregame warm-ups and stuff like that, he giving a gun signal, a gesture like, like the gun and stuff like that. He just ain't learned his lesson. He just think that everything is funny, everything is a joke. And like I said, he's dealing with some people right now who neither one of these two different entities, neither one of these entities think that this is funny, that this is a laughing matter. So Gilbert really needs to be careful with how he moved. I don't know who is who is around Gilbert that would not tell, that Gilbert, like, this is, this is not the move. This is not the way you want to be moving when it comes to the federal government or this other or organization that you're involved with, and so I thought that Stephen A. Smith made some good points when he said that, man, just take care of yourself, be safe, and and just stop, get serious. You're a grown man, and on top of that, Gilbert has a son who's a very good basketball player. I think his son is going to go to USC. Is he going to USC? I'm not sure. But his son is getting ready to go to college. So he's one of the top recruits in the country. And you don't want to overshadow that. You, as a father, man, you just want to you want to see your son do well. You want to be there to be able to support him. And you don't want anything that you might do to distract or take away from what your son, like the journey that your son is on. Just sit back as a father and enjoy that journey that your son is on. Um, you know, and that's the thing, right? When people are when people get money and they get the spotlight, they think that that it's all about them, and it's not. And that's what I said the same thing about Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp this weekend, just recently, his brother was inducted into the Football Hall of Fame, but a lot of his brother shine was taken away because the spotlight is on Shannon Sharp and the legal issues that he's having with the these this case that was brought up against him by this young lady. And so his brother don't get the he don't get the shine that he deserved for working as hard as he did to get to the NFL. Then he got to the NFL and he had a great career. Now he's going into the Hall of Fame. But now, it's the spotlight is on Shannon Sharp than it is Sterling Sharp. And so Gilbert Arenas don't want to be in that same situation. You don't want to be stealing none of your sunshine. You just want, as a father, you want to sit back and watch and enjoy what he's going through. And so I just think that Gilbert Arenas need to grow up. He need to stop taking everything for a joke. You as a grown man, you want people to respect you as a grown man. You don't want people to see you as a as like a gesture or a clown. You want some respect. And in order to get respect, you have to carry yourself in a certain way. And right now, I don't think that Gilbert Arenas is doing that. Hopefully, Gilbert Arenas don't run into no issues. I don't know. It remains to be seen though. But I just think that Gilbert Arenas, man, need to just cut out all this joking and stuff like that. Like Stephen A. said. And I don't even think it was cool what Gilbert said about Stephen A. Smith, like insinuating that Stephen A. Smith may be a snitch. You know, um, I don't know if it was Marcus Morrison or Markeith Morrison, but that he put himself in that situation, so Stephen A. Smith didn't have to snitch on him. Shannon Sharp put himself in a situation, so Stephen A. Smith ain't had to, didn't have to snitch on him. Gilbert Arenas, didn't Stephen A. Smith didn't tell Gilbert Arenas to rent out his house to people so they can use it for alleged illegal activities. So all of this, so for him to insinuate that Stephen A. Smith may be snitching, I think it's just, just some BS, really. Basically, is what it boiled down to. But that's my take on it. I want y'all to make sure, like I said, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.